Actually, you know what?
That's weird.
There's a couple of,
Yeah.
yes, yes. um, there's a couple of very interesting questions and comments that came up from Corin Thompson. Doesn't the Arabic word use scourge? This means to whip, and that is correct. That is true, Corin. I'll get to that in a moment. Actually, that's well worth raising. Veronica at the well says, so the man practically buys the woman for sexual services, and if she does not make herself available, she's breaking the contract. Now, in the previous show with you, Shamoon, I went through the initial stages of marriage, and he literally, the man gets married for sex. There is no other reason for him to get married. As you remember, the marriage contract
Yes, I
actually
do.
stipulates he
Yes,
gets
I do.
married for sex. She makes herself
Yeah,
available for sex. There is no
I remember.
sacrament, there's no love. There was purely, this is a sexual services contract, so he doesn't get killed for having sex. Now, I want to bring, this is Arbery. I've just brought up the Arbery translation on Quranics. Men are the managers of the affairs of women, right? Allah has preferred one of them over the other, right? And from those whom you may fear, those you fear may be rebellious, beat them. Say so bluntly. Okay? Now I want to
Yeah.
get to my
Sorry,
notes.
Lloyd.
Yes?
We are
Almost on time. Yes, please.
9 minutes left to
Yeah,
time. I'm not
that's fine.
sure if
Yeah,
you want to stop the questions.
that's cool. Yeah. So I want to bring this up. Um, I actually want to bring up a specific. So, Corin, with regards to what you asked, this I want to show you this Sahih Bukhari Hadith 7, Volume 7, Book 62, Hadith 132, narrated blah blah blah. Muhammad said, none of you should flog his wife the way he flogs a slave and then have sex with her in the last part of the day. So he says, don't whip your wife the way you whip your slave and then have sex with her at night.
How?
So if you want to have sex with her at night, don't whip her the way you would whip one of your slaves. So
So whip her in
yes,
a different fashion, at least.
yes, whip her a little differently. Whip her just a little bit. Now, personally, I have not yet met a man who owns a whip to use on his wife or his slaves, but I guess there's always room to be
Unless,
surprised.
well, unless he's got weird fetishes, right?
Well, that's a little different because that's consensual, right?
Yeah,
Man,
sure.
that's outside the scope of this argument. So yes. So do not flog your. You've seen floggings. You know what a whipping looks like. You
Yeah.
know exactly what a whipping is, and this is precisely what it says. It's Sahih Bukhari, which means obviously, as you know, as any Islamic apologist will tell you, that this was written by an evil Christian missionary. We have sourced it from a fake Christian missionary website, and this is written by an enemy of Islam. And Sahih and Bukhari is not a real Muslim. So I think we've covered the typical Islamic objections. So your comments from you,
Gee whiz.
Shimon.
Yeah, it is. I think that the Muslims, like even at this stage, Shabir Ali, just denying the fact that the husband is allowed to beat his wife, etc. And even if there's just like a straight lie, because what you have is that Dr. Shabir Ali, when he makes a comment on Surah 434 about the fact that women can be beaten, forget the whole beating part even, comparing the fact that the women should be left alone in bed, that in itself is
Mm-hmm.
a it's
Well,
radically different than the Christian perspective. Is the husband must love his wife, must be given to
right.
her wholly, regardless of whatever. Don't
Well,
leave her
there's
in bed and stuff. There's nothing like that, in at least in the Christian community. We must love our wives. That's
okay.
it.
No, so there's an emphasis on punishment within the Sharia, within Islam. So someone asked me if I can
Yeah.
provide them. I'm just trying to find the name here. If I can find. So, guys, if you look in the description, for whoever asked, I just read it. If I can find the website references, guys. If you go to the description, there is a link to a OneDrive link, which is this database that you see me using right here, right now. And you will find a link to this, and you should find a page that has all of this detail. You'll find I have a subset of my database. This is my full database on Islam here, all the categories on the right, all the pages, but I have a tiny subset of that follow the OneDrive link, let it load in your browser, and you will find this here. If it's not there, I will make sure I paste it in there by tomorrow morning. Okay, so you can get all this. Now, I want to give people, so in the last few minutes, Shamoon, would you mind if I just went over some of the actual laws on beating women in Islam?
Yeah, sure, go ahead, because we're dealing
So
with Surah 4.
let's start with some of the sources. So this is, of course, Bukhari, the limits and punishment set by Allah. Hudud, this is punishment. Narrated Aisha, Abu Bakr came towards me and struck me violently with his fist. And he did this because she made people wait for her because she was searching for her necklace. I remained motionless as if I was dead, lest I should wake up Allah's messenger, Muhammad. That hit was very painful. Sahih Bukhari, Hadith number 6845. Now I want to go on here. This is Sunan Abu Dawood. He, the Prophet, gave permission to beat them. Because someone came to him, and Umar came to him and said, women have become bold towards their husbands. So Muhammad gave permission to beat them. Now understand,
Wait,
you asked, yes?
can I interject there quickly? So the response generally that Muhammad Hijab and Nauman Ali Khan at least says is that to beat a wife, now please respond to this, is that at least Muhammad Hijab says so. The beating of a wife is only allowed in self-defense, right? For
That is a
example,
lie,
a woman
an absolute
cut
lie.
you, etc.
That's an absolute
Okay.
lie, because you asked me earlier about the context of the hadith. Now, often the hadith have no context, and the Quran itself often has no context. The Sharia is the context of the Quran. Understand, the Sharia is the final context. It is the final explanation.
Yep.
So now, let's go to another hadith. Muslim, book 4, hadith 2127. He struck me on the chest, which caused me pain. This is Muhammad hitting his wife painfully.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, do you think that Allah and his apostle would deal unjustly with you? Obviously, this tells us that to hit his wife is justice. It is just to do so.
Yeah.
Now,
Justice. Yeah.
Tabari. So now we're going through the Sunnah, okay, to understand the Sunnah. Then we'll look at the Sharia, right, which is derived from all of this and gives us the formal legal rulings. Allah permits you to shut them in separate rooms and to beat them. Now, this part is probably in brackets, okay? If they abstain, if they stop misbehaving, then they have the right to food and clothing. Implying, of course, if they don't behave, well, they don't get food and clothing, now do they? And of course, treat women well, for they are domestic animals and they possess nothing themselves. They're like domestic animals.